Hey friends, hello, good afternoon. Welcome to this very quick video. This is going to be Collage Club for August 2023. I have 5 of your printables here and I'm just going to go through each one and let you know where they came from and what it's all about. So let's get into it. This is sheet number 1. I'm going to put all of these over here. This is Stamples. That's what I like to call my little sample stamp images. So I've made a new stamp set. It's actually, it's half this page, like this is the stamp set. But when I make the new stamp sets, I usually have to test them out to make sure they're going to be exactly what I want them to be before I even put them into production. So this was the digital file and I put it into Procreate, which is not an application I usually use to draw. I mean, I don't usually draw digitally anyway, but if I do, I use Procreate. I typically just love to draw freehand anyway, and usually I would print off the stamps like on paper. I would just draw on top of them, but I thought I'd try it differently this time, and this is what I came up with. These are the Stamples, and I am really loving some of these ones here that are a little bit more Tim Burton inspired, considering that we're starting Virtual Voyage 8, which is all Tim Burton themed, and so this is going to be great little ephemera to use for that journal. So this is just a bunch of those, all kind of fashion-y, feminine-y. I don't have the stamps yet, they're still being manufactured, but I cannot wait to show you them when they're finally finished. I wanted to take everything I learned from the 100-day challenge with all that stamp and illustration process, and I wanted to design a stamp set that I felt like added in pieces that I was missing, and a lot of that was more of like a fashion-y kind of thing, like this fashion figure. I felt like I was missing that, and I also felt like I was missing kind of this, this fashion face. Also this 3/4 fashion body thing. Anyway, these are what I felt like was missing from my stamp lineup. So this is going to be a great addition, I feel. I did make it in size 6x8, so it's relatively substantial size to work on, which I'll appreciate, I'm sure. And I can't wait to get them. I can't wait to actually play with the real ones. It's always a little bit different to play with the files on the computer and then to actually use the stamp sets. Inevitably, I always love using the stamp sets a whole lot more. I love that tactile nature of actually getting in there and using paper and pencils and everything. But this is how I did it this time, and I guess I just keep speaking because I'm a little vulnerable about digital art. I still feel like it's so new to me, so to be sharing a lot of it feels a little, I don't know, it feels like new territory. So I hope you enjoy it. My favorites are these like little Tim Burton-y ones up here, these 3. The rest I kept pretty simple, although I do really fancy her legs. I love those tights. So that is sheet number 1. I want to just share that with you. This is sheet number 2. These are lots of faces. It's all kind of face-centric. If you remember a long time ago, I told you I actually collect all of this art that I do as I do it. And then I have hard drives full of scans from things I've done from years and years and years ago. Like these are from 2017, I think, these faces, from my first stamp set. These were Stamples actually from way back then. So I collect all that art, I put them on hard drives, I have all the scans, and if I see a theme coming together, I will start to put it into a page, and then when I think there's enough to fill an entire collage sheet, I will put that into Collage Club. Although I do have a ton ready, so sometimes I just choose which I think is going to be better for which month. Like I wouldn't give a Halloween sheet out in, February, so all the little Halloween things I've been drawing or I find in old journals, I scan them and then I just put them into the file, and by Halloween, it should already be kind of ready to go. So this one I've actually had ready for a while. My playtest Patreon people will know because you've seen a screenshot of all the kind of active files that I was working on, and some of those are actually in your sheets today, which is so funny considering that was months ago, but this is just the nature of rolling those sheets over every 4 months. So here is the faces. Like I said, some of these are a little bit more vintage, a little bit more 2017. These ones up here, and this one as well, and this one. Actually, yeah, this one too. These were all from the same Traveler's Notebook that I did years and years ago. I think it had Tomorrow River paper in it. So these are, I feel like, very vintage for me. And then this really fun pencil face. This one was even older than that. This was before I even had any stamp sets, and this was actually a drawing I did to test whether this was one of the designs that I wanted. I ended up opting out of it because it didn't really fit within the set. You have to be able to fit everything onto the size of the stamp set, the photopolymer sheet, but there also has to be enough of a line around it so that you don't, so that you can cut them out and they can all sit nicely. And this was such an awkward, like long stick of a head. So sometimes the stamp sets get designed in a way that Like maybe there would be something else I'd put on there, but just for the sake of filling up the sheet and making sure I maximize space, like a design happens a certain way. Like this design here, her body had to go this way so that it could make space for this shoulder to come in here so that I could cut around each of these and there was space. So you can kind of see how they're connected together, and that's why you put her there, because her feet can kind of go into this space down here. It's a little hard to see when they're decorated on, but these without any decorations, it literally looks like a puzzle that you can kind of squish together, that are just slightly separated. So sometimes, you know, sizing informs my design decisions, but for all of this is all the fun play that I do once I get them. So I love these. I love a bit of jumping back into the past. This one's relatively recent. I did this with Tombow markers in my Hobonichi 5-year journal. And this one's super old. These were coloring sheets I did years ago. Sorry, I just get really excited to peel things off when they're cut out as sticker sheets. But I have to keep them intact when I do these videos. I really, really loved these. These really take me back to a time. So sheet number 3. This one's kind of Japanese themed, so there's lots of little Japanese things. This is a keyring from Tokyo Disney Resort. Has the little Dango Mickey mochi balls, and just some geisha-inspired drawings. This little My Neighbor Totoro drawing that we did in Virtual Voyage 6. And this was actually like things I wanted to do in Japan list that I made before I went in 2017. So this is pretty old too. This, I felt like it was a little Japanese. I don't know why, but I put it in there. It's actually from my Australia journal. It's a drawing I did of Oliver, my cat, and this koi flag. I love these geisha mountains. We did that in Virtual Voyage 6 as well, Tokyo A Go-Go. That was really fun. And then these two cute little brushstroke little fairy blossoms. And this is kind of an ink drawing. I just like that. I thought it was really effective. And this is actually really big. The original of this is probably like this big. So it's scaled down quite well. I enjoyed how that looked scaled down. This is a collage piece. It was a collage and illustration piece. So how I do the stamp and illustration, where I stamp everything together and then draw it, this was when I would collage everything together and then I would draw the collage that I did. And this was that in a pocket-sized notebook. So this is actually not too much smaller than the real thing is. And anyway, I love this. I love all of that. You know, I love Japan. I really want to go. I'm planning a trip, but it's more of a fantasy in my head at the moment. This is a stripes page. Very appropriate considering we're heading into Virtual Voyage 8. Like I said, Tim Burton will be all over my Instagram, I'm sure, for all of August. And I'm looking forward to it. So we've got some brushstroke people here. These were kind of the original brushstroke designs that I did, which were, again, Stamples. I seem to be making so many Stample images available this month. This is an old one as well, more watercolory than brush pen. Just some old little doodles and some old little sketches. Sometimes I like to put these fun little shapes or random things in. I do draw faces a lot, and I usually draw feminine faces, but sometimes I just think it's nice to have some random things to play with to inspire more collage play and just some more abstract thinking. So if you ever see little bits and pieces in here like this, they don't have to mean anything. You're not crazy if you can't figure out what it is, because these aren't actually anything. These were just examples from a lesson that I taught once about putting line work on things. And so this was adding dimension to it, and this was kind of a flat version of it. So, I mean, if you feel like it speaks to you and it says something and you feel like you can use it for something, use it. And if you don't, you don't. They just stay on the sheet. It's fine. This is pretty old as well. I collaged this head and then I drew this body. This was from my little Hobonichi, my old planners, the A6 size ones. Techo, my Hobonichi Techo. The Avex, the thin 2 to a year planner system that I used to do. I don't miss those. I have the journals. I guess I miss that I haven't put them to use as much as I wanted to, but I really needed that monthly grid and then the weekly view in my planning. So I did have to kind of abandon those journals, but there's some great little, there's some great stuff in there. And sometimes I do go back and just use them to scribble things down. Like when I wrote the Daisy Ween book, I used those journals just to sketch all that out. So they just become workbooks. So that is from collage. It was actually an octopus, and these are all the tentacles. I think it was a challenge I did. Like maybe it was from a page in 10 video or something, but I do remember it being something that was kind of low stakes, but a little fun and creative. I thought that would just be a cute little thing to add. Obviously, everything on here has to do with stripes. So I wanted to add that. This is pretty old as well. Do you remember I did years ago digi stamps, but I also did this black and white book where I pasted all the digi stamps in there and then I decorated all of them. Funnily enough, this flag, this koi carp flag, is from that book as well, but so are these. And I've included some of these in the past, but I came across it the other day. There was so much in there, so I really wanted to share these because I've always loved the look of those. This is a bit of a background page. You can kind of see a body peeking in there. Just pretend that's not there. A tag. This is one of the original Tag Tuesday tags, like from years ago. Not one of like the first ones I did, but back when I was really heavy into the Tag Tuesday. And so I put that in there. And then this was from Playtest Patreon. So you might have already seen this if you were one of my patrons, but this was a Tim Burton inspired drawing. It's a photo shoot. A Tim Burton inspired photo shoot, I think was for Vogue. I think Tim Walker did it. I'm not quite sure. But it was very fun to draw. And she's got stripes all over her body. She kind of looks crazy. So I really like her. That's everything on this page. The last one, page number 5, is more boys. It's such a rare day in JLB Creative World that I give you any men or boys or masculine things. So I usually put them all together on a sheet and give them all to you at once. And then hopefully it will suffice until next time. And they're all mostly things that I draw in my journals, usually of myself or Steve. So here's a bunch of self-portraits that you can have. This was me as the Grinch in our Christmas card. It was also one of my stamps, the Steve and James stamp set. I used that as the base, so that's where that aesthetic comes from. This was an AI portrait that I did on TikTok, and then I drew it, but it's, again, of me. This one's not of me. This is something from years ago. This was a little representation. I did this at an orientation when I was bored. This was from one of my Art Snacks videos, the little tests. This was a self-portrait when I had long hair, which seems like a million years ago now. And these were some Tim Burton studies. I was studying the way he was doing portraiture. I was considering putting it into my Burtonville 2 course, but unfortunately I think it's a little dense as far as a lesson goes. Like, it requires not only a kind of heavy understanding of Tim Burton's techniques and approach, but also of just anatomy and portraiture in general. And I just think that's way too much to pack in to a course that is all about fun and drawing and just letting loose. So maybe it'll be something fun in the future. But, and I did test those, I did that before, right? Like, I think last year or earlier this year, I was testing more advanced style lessons, and people did really take to it, but it is a much smaller group that enjoys that type of learning. So I'll never say never, but for now, I just thought I'd give them to you here. This is kind of a depiction I was drawing of myself putting the course together, where I've taken Tim Burton's eyes and I'm looking at everything with his eyes, or trying to anyway. That's the whole goal. And then this was a little picture I did from Virtual Voyage 4. We were drawing, I don't know what we were drawing it for, but I drew a picture of myself in my little gold skates with my ribbons and tiara and wands and ribbons, and just a little self-portrait as me as a child. This was a scribble I did in orientation when I was bored as well. And this was an old Stample. It was a feminine face stamp that I tried to make masculine. And I feel like it fell somewhere in the middle. And this was, I think, a page in 10 challenge, or one of those little challenges I did, the Finish It Friday challenges, where they had those little prompts. I think it might have been one of those. Either way, that is everything. I think I've gone through almost every single piece of what we've got to use today. This is Stample as well. This is Stample. I didn't do the top of her head, but you could put a really fabulous wig on there, or a really massive hat. It's obviously a drag queen, but you know, you can do whatever you want with that. And then yes, all of these Stamples as well. Lots of Stample imagery. Hopefully I've put that word in your brain now and you can accept it as a real word, because I've felt stupid saying it every single time I've said it. But I think it first came up when we did Creativation, and I was saying I was making stamp samples, and I was frustrated getting tongue-tied over the word, so I just decided to say Stamples. And I figured I'll explain that if someone needs to know what that means. But I've called them that ever since, and I have many of them. So I hope you enjoy. August is a funny time, like, just to be real. July, I always get really excited because it's my birthday, and then I feel like once it's been my birthday, it goes into Halloween, and that there's a lead up into it. For me, it's like a lead up into Christmas and Halloween, but the So Halloween is on my mind, but I feel like it's a little too early to go Halloween. But also this year I felt like we're doing Burtonville, like we're going Virtual Voyage 8, like it's kind of ooky kooky spooky, so I don't know, maybe we should do a little bit of Halloween. It's been a little bit of a mix up in my brain to know exactly what to add. So I think I've done a good balance where I've not tried to put any spooky thoughts in your head just yet, but there are some Tim Burton references in there. If you're doing Burtonville, obviously you will be getting a lot of stuff in Virtual Voyage 8 to use, but if you're following along on the sidelines, you're not actually joining us in the course, there'll be stuff to use to reference. If you are just, engaging on social media and trying some of the stuff for yourself, whatever you need. I just wanted to put a bit of a variety in there, and hopefully, like every month, there's something for everybody. But that's it. As per usual, I've printed it on gloss label sticker paper, so it is adhesive. I've used my Silhouette Portrait 3 to cut them all out. I put all of the Silhouette files for download as well. They're compressed in a zip folder. Also, there's PNG files. They're not transparent backgrounds, it's just this flat image, but on a PNG in case you have other cutting machine software that you want to use to make that. And then you have the PDF download, of course, if you're just wanting to download and print. And I always say don't print them all at once, like just print the ones you're going to use, but make sure you do download them because they rotate out every month. And at this point, I'm starting to rotate out what's going to be in there: August, July, June, May. So April will be going. And I think April is the month we started the 100-day challenge. So this was your last month to be able to download all 100-day challenge images. Now they're going to slowly rotate out. But anything that does rotate out goes to Etsy for individual purchase for the month. And I will be working on putting a pack together that's all of the 100-day challenge stuff, just in case people want that. But make sure you have that downloaded. And just keep them safe on your computer so when they rotate out, you still have them, because they don't stay on there. They only stay on there for 4 months and then they're gone. Okay, that's all the info. Again, if you haven't seen, we're doing Virtual Voyage 8. It is Burtonville, Return to Burtonville, Burtonville 2. It's a very flexible, fluid name. But we're going to have a lot of fun doing that for 2 weeks live. Get in while it's live if you want. Also, I've sent out those return student coupons. If you don't have one, email me, jameslukeburke@msn.com. Just ask for the return student coupon. I can get that to you. It's also available on all Virtual Voyage workshops until August 3rd. So please take advantage of that before that coupon expires. And I will see you there live on Wednesday night. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I've been chomping at the bit for a Virtual Voyage and I'm super duper ready. Enjoy your August, everyone. I will see you again for Collage Club in September. And until then, goodbye.